All right. Moving on to Sapphire. I think Sapphire is a lot weaker than it usually is. There's some really powerful Sapphire cards, but I feel like there's not enough good Sapphire cards at common and uncommon to make me want to play Sapphire as a preface to us looking at Sapphire. I think you are better off being like Blood Wild, Blood Ruby, like anything but Sapphire. I think you're like well suited to being. In fact, even in actions decks, I would avoid playing Sapphire. The only time you should be playing Sapphire is if you're playing Mill, I guess, because you have to. Alright. First, Aquamander. Aquamander is sweet. Supposedly, you will get an Aquamander without the ability. With the ability. With the one-shot still active. If you do, Aquamander's pretty good. If you don't, Aquamander sucks. Like if you have two Aquamanders and you can just like chain them together and make infinite Aquamanders, that's sweet. If it doesn't do that, then no. Like playing 2 cost 2/1 and just continually playing 2 cost 2/1 is a pretty unbeatable thing to be doing. I don't know. Either Aquamander's busted, and you should draft every Aquamander you can, and it like defies the fact that the rest of Sapphire is kind of underwhelming, or Aquamander's okay, and you should probably not be playing Sapphire. Arcanovex, it's good. It makes a random action. It's like a major socket that you can only choose make a random action, and it has Frostform. That's fine. I already like make a random action. This is already a fine card. It's not exciting, but it does work. I like Arcanovex. Oh, Constructed? No. Constructed? Maybe. Yeah. Next up is Arcing Frost. This is supposedly the best arcing for ruining combat. I still think reverting is way better, but sure. 32 Beat says that you can play around this card. I'm not so sure about that, but okay. Yeah, I don't know. This should be a blowout. That's about it. This card's gross. I don't think it sees constructed play. In Limited, you should learn how to play around this. No? You think it's just bad? I think this is a very fine combat trick. It's gonna be a blowout. Maybe it won't be. Like your opponent's only gonna attack with troops that they can get through with, right? So like, no, I think it's good. Maybe it won't be like an ultimate blowout, but it'll be good. But cripple is permanent, right? Cripple was like bad removal. This is a combat trick. Anyways, I don't know how to evaluate this. We'll figure it out. Like, we'll learn. We'll all collectively learn as players once the set actually comes out. Next up is Bleeding Heart. This is a very slow card. It will win you the game because it draws a card every turn. It is very slow and does not impact the board. You need to be in a matchup where that's okay. It's also a constant. People should be playing incidental constant removal. There's also one in Wild. I think I'm highlighting it right now. Right? Yeah. Like, incidentally destroys constants. Yeah. Maybe constants aren't good. You should be aware of that. Anyways, I think it's a fine card for Bleeding Heart. You just like slowly generate portals and stuff. I don't think you play Bleeding Heart with a portal champion. I think that is wrong. I think if you play Bleeding Heart with a portal champion, you're doing something severely wrong with your life. You don't want portals when you're playing Bleeding Heart. Next up is Bluebell Pixie. When another troop you control transforms, this gets +2 attack and flight. So this is a bad card until you transform. There's not a ton of great ways to transform in this set. Which is why I don't like this card. It's great if you get it and you transform immediately. If it sits as a 1/4 for like more than 3 turns, it's probably not good. And I think it'll sit as a 1/4 for more than 3 turns. Or I'm going to revert it back into a 1/4. That's my worry. That's the world that I live in. Wild does nothing but transform? Is that even true? We'll figure it out. We'll look. Borean Boa. You're never going to Frostform this card. What the hell? Also, this is like the most underwhelming mill ever. Like, what? No, I don't want this card. A 4-cost 1/6, that's not even exciting. And a 2-cost 1/1, that when you play an action, you bury the top card of each opposing champion's deck? No. No, we're not playing this card. Don't play this card. Play better cards. Even if you're mill, play better cards. This card is bad. If you do need a 1/6 for 4, you're going to play this card. As a note. For all of you who understand that blocking is sometimes a thing, you're going to play it in those situations. Briny Walrus. No. This is just as bad. Like, a 4-cost 2/1 that bounces a troop to its owner's hand isn't that good. And a 4-cost 2/6 that bounces, or a 6-cost 2/6 that bounces a troop into its owner's hand isn't that good either. Like, what's it called? The giant ferret, Polar Ferret, is like this card, but infinitely better. I mean, obviously Polar Ferret's like an uncommon, but like, this card is just bad. Polar Ferret, worst case scenario, is this card. Yeah, these cards are just too expensive for what they're doing. And that's why these cards are bad. Like there's so many, like, dumb Sapphire cards that are just, like, not good. It should be a quick play Walrus? No. That would be busted. Alright, Cerulean Grand Invoker. This is a rare. Remember, rares do not impact how we feel about colors in Limited, usually. Because rares do not, you know, come up as much. And we might not necessarily see any rares that are in our colors. And we'll still have to build decks. Cerulean Grand Invoker. You summon an Invoker's Familiar, and when you play an action, this gets +1/+1 this turn. So it has that stupid action gem on a really underwhelming body. Oh, but wait, what does the Familiar do? When it deals damage to an opposing champion, put a random action from your deck into your hand. I don't know how this is happening. Like I understand that it's like Bella and whatnot, but like, how is this even happening? How are you getting in with your dumb 1/1? This card isn't happening. This card is not an exciting rare. We're not doing that. We're gonna avoid this card like the plague. We're gonna pick uncommons over this card. We're gonna pick commons and uncommons over this card. Obviously, it's like 4 costs for 2 bodies. That's okay. But like, this card is not exciting. It would be amazing if Bella was unblockable. It would be amazing if Bella had any keyword on it. Like, if Bella had this, and Cerulean Grand Invoker was just like a guy with no ability, if Bella had this ability, I would like it more. But Bella doesn't. Alright. Dead of Winter. This card is slow as butts. If you can afford to play cards that are slow as butts, this card's your man. Yeah. You create a copy of each opposing troop and put them into your hand. The created thresholds become Sapphire. They become necrotic. Hey, they all trigger Frostshaper Gokrog. Hey, this is a really slow card. Yeah, just be aware of that. It's like a clone that costs like 5 times as much mana as a clone would. But you like kinda slowly clone your opponent's entire board. It's fine. Another note is that you can't actually Frostform. If you copy a bunch of like Diamond Frostform troops, you can't actually frost form them to make them cheaper, because it still will require you to have the other threshold. This isn't solid mass removal. It doesn't kill anything. This is just an awkward, like, clone effect. This isn't a good card. Don't get me wrong. It'll be fun. We'll draft this card for fun. It'll be a great late game win condition. This isn't a good card. Also, does anyone know who this person is? It's the champion, right? The Fate Weave champion? I don't remember what it's called, though. Does she have a new, like Frostheart version, Heartsworn version of the champion? Because that would be kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know. This card is slow. It's not great. Demented Destiny, this card sucks. Hey, don't play this card. Unless you're mill. Then you can play this card. This isn't a good card to make you go mill, though. Thought it was Lixel? No. Lixel's right here in the front. See? Lixel, Mordrum, whatever his name is. Draxard, and then the champion. The Fate Weave champion. But I don't know if she has a Sweet Heartsworn version. That would be cool. Alright, Demented Destiny. Yeah, we've talked about this. It might see play in Constructed if you, like, somehow end up in a mill control deck. That'll be good. Dingle Dance. Hey, look. This is the most... Oh, yeah, no, the one in the back. This is the most punishing... Oh, Kalalac. Is there Heartsworn Kalalac? That would be sweet. Anyways, this is the most punishing combat trick in the set. Like, you're gonna go all in on, like, buffing your guy. You're gonna give it, like, Death Cry abilities. You're gonna do all sorts of that stuff. And I'm gonna Dingle Dance your troop and ruin your day. This is the best card in Sapphire at common, I think. Like you're gonna swing into me. You're gonna, like, use your combat trick aggressively. I'm gonna Dingle Dance you, and the combat will be over. You'll cry. We'll deal. Is this the best Dingle action so far? I don't know. I think Dingle is pretty good. But yeah, Dingle Dance is a pretty sweet card. I think it's really strong. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's it. I don't think it'll see constructed play. Because it's not, like, counter magic. It, like, lets the troop already on the board, and you don't even kill the troop unless you have blockers, which I think a Sapphire control deck is not going to have, so don't think you want Dingle Dance, ever. Next up is Emerging Blaspheme. When an opposing resource is buried, this gets cost -1 in all zones. Deploy, bury the top 5 cards of each opposing champion's deck. Wow, this card is good for mill. So, like, a resource would be milled, what is it, like 2/5 of the time? And then, yeah. You need this to cost, like, 5-ish for this to be good? Sure. So, how many cards do you have to bury? 5, 2/5. So, like, divide by 2, 2.5 times 5. Like, 13 cards on average for this to cost 5? Maybe that's bad. That's probably bad. You have other ways to mill. This isn't that great. It is a payoff when you're already milling them, though. It, like, gets better when you're milling them. But yeah, I don't know. It is a giant blocker, which is, like, a sweet thing. But yeah, I don't know. Probably won't see any constructed play. Like, you have to, like, all in on mill, on aggro mill, for this to, like, see any constructed play. I don't think that's gonna happen. Alright, Eyes of the Heart. This card is sweet! This card is busted. You guys remember Time Walk? Time Warp? Time Warp? The whatever it was called? Temporal whatever it was called from set 1 or 2? Imagine it costed 1 more and you gained 1,000,000 charges. Mastery of Time. That's the one. Remember how people played Mono Sapphire, like Mastery of Time decks? Where you played like Menacing Grolk to like tap down their entire board, and you also played Mastery of Time to get an extra turn, and you played like that 4-cost 3/3 that drew a card whenever you played an action. Yeah, this is like Mastery of Time, but like you also gain charges. 1,000,000 charges. This card is great. This card is sweet. You should be playing this card always. This might see constructed play. Holy crap, this card is so good. This is a chase card. Even if it doesn't see standard constructed play, 100% PvE casuals will want to play this card. I want to play this card. Someone gave me AA Mastery of Times, and I feel bad because I would rather play these than Mastery of Times. Yeah. 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 It's insane. It's great with Stormcloud. Too bad Stormcloud's gone. Alright. Next up, we have Fall Into Despair. Hey, it's a mill card. Hey, it's a constant. Guys, main deck your constant removal, please. At the start of your turn, bear the top 2 cards of each opposing champion's deck. It's kind of mediocre. It puts your opponent on a... What did I say? You need like to bury 25 cards? So like a 12-turn clock. But you're going to play other mill cards, right? So like it's slightly better than that. This is quite possibly one of the best mill cards that they've ever printed. For limited. This will not see any play in Constructed. Don't play mill in Constructed. Mill in Constructed, I think, will rely on more bursty mill and trying to discard your opponent's entire hand. This is probably fine in limited. I don't think mill is a good archetype. Or, I don't think mill in general is a fun archetype to have. As a design perspective. In gameplay, I don't even know if I like this card. I much prefer the troops that, like, when they attack mill. Or, like, Deathcry mill. Or the other one that was, like, a fair mill card. Like, the 4-cost 3/4. Oh, there's a 4-cost 3/4 in Blood, right? That, like, mills. I think those are much more exciting than this. If I have to main deck constant removal, I probably won't play much of this set. Cat, are you one of those kinds of people who's like, oh man, I'm playing Mirrodin. This set is completely based off of artifacts. I'm not gonna main deck Shatter. Instead, I'm gonna play as if this set wasn't all about artifacts. No, this set is very much about constant. And you will have to main deck constant removal. And constant removal is incidentally on some cards. I think it's fine. Alright. But yeah. Besides that, no for constructed, yes for limited. I don't like it in Rock, because there are, like, recursion decks in Rock. And that seems really bad against recursion decks. Alright. Next up is Gaze of Hastur. This pays you off for milling. If you mill 10 cards, you get to exhaust troops. This is the 3-cost 2/3 that if you controlled an elemental got to exhaust troops. This is the same thing. It's even better. It costs 2. It's harder to pull off. As a note, it is a 2-cost or less Chaos Touch, which means you can hit it off of the blood removal spell that if they have 10 or more cards in their crypt, it makes a random Chaos Touch of 2-cost or less and puts it into play. This is a strong card. It is also incredibly disgusting to look at, so I don't want to look at it anymore. I don't think this sees any play in Constructed. Alright, Heartsworn Caller, when it got spoiled, 32B and me were sweet on this card. Heartsworn Caller is strong. It has Socketable Miner, and when it deals combat damage to a opposing champion, you gain a charge. And it's a Necrotic for Gokrog if you're going to play Gokrog. This has so many good things going for it. Holy moly. This is a sweet card. I think it is a pretty great uncommon 2-drop. And I'm going to draft 2-drops pretty highly early on, because I'm going to assume that the format is aggressive. And this is going to pay me off for being aggressive. I really like this card. In Constructed, don't think it'll see much play. Like, I don't know what kind of deck wants more charges other than Haraza. And it doesn't look like you're going to make Ruby Sapphire Haraza, so yeah. Not happening. Heartthorn Cutthroat, I've talked about this before. It's a necrotic. You can pay 2 charges. If you do, it gets +1/+0 and unblockable. This card's very fine. I like, the people who don't like this card don't understand that sometimes you just need unblockable troops to get through like board stalls. Plus it gains you a charge because it's a necrotic. Like, you're not playing this in not Gokrog. It's not a good card in not Gokrog. But in Gokrog, like, I'm okay spending 2 charges to like make this a 3/3 unblockable. And if you Gokrog this card, you can make the new copy a 4/3 unblockable. Not that that's good, because you're spending 2 charges to do that. But yeah. Or you're spending net 1 charge to do that. But yeah, this is a fine card. It's not great. There's a lot better like things that you could be doing, but it's fine. You're gonna pick this as a middling uncommon. In Constructed, you're never gonna play this. There you go. Draxard, you're gonna play this all the time. This is like a really bomby rare. Like, you draw 3 cards, and then when it leaves play, you have to discard 3 cards. At worst case scenario, this like loots you 3 somehow for 6. And your opponent has to spend a card to make you loot 3, right? Better than that is if you draw 3 cards and then you just play out your cards and don't have to discard. And then it's an unblockable 6/6. This card's insane. This card has so many good things for it. The good Draxard. The other Draxard's fine. The other Draxard gains you like 1,000,000 life. It is dangerous to have the other Draxard. What kind of deck do you think will be bestish with the new set? No clue. In Constructed? No idea. Limited? Still no idea. For Limited, I'm going to put my vote towards... what is it? Power Matters. Power Matters is sweet. Fine, but not 6/6 unblockable. Sure. You know what I am going to play against Draxard? I'm going to play Assassinate. I'm going to play Overwhelming Guilt. Draxard is going to feel so guilty for hitting me for 6 that you're going to discard 3 cards and I'm going to verdict you. Alright. Mordrum. Mordrum's insane. Someone thought that this wasn't insane until they realized that the 5 is 5 charges and not 5 resources. You just play this in Gokrog, you go turn 4 Mordrum, steal your troop, go. And your opponent's like, what the fuck just happened? This is a huge tempo swing. This card is insane. You should play this always. This card is a top tier limited card. Will this see play in Constructed? Maybe. Like, Mind Control a 3-cost or less troop? That's great. You know what great 3-cost troops there are? There's freaking, whatever it's called. God, I can never remember any of the names of cards. Alright, there's Matriarch of Flames. There's the entire cycle of Matriarch of Flames, right? This card is better than Hostage Taker and MTG. Hostage Taker blows! I want everyone in here to know that. Hostage Taker isn't a good one. Bride. Bride is 3-cost or less. You can play this against Bride. You can play this against Matriarchs. You can play this against a whole slew of great 3-drop or less troops. In fact, Heartsworn Mordrum can steal your opponent's copy of freaking Shamrock the Goldfather. If your opponent loses their Shamrock, like one, it's not like you're trading 1 for 1 for the Shamrock, right? You haven't lost a card. You're 2 for 1ing them on their Shamrock. Shamrock's normally supposed to be a 2 for 1 because Shamrock is supposed to be like, oh, you played a card, I get a lucky coin back. Value. But this is literally like, oh, hey, nice lucky coin. Now I have Shamrock. Now I'm getting lucky coins too. Get wrecked. This card's insane. Inconstructed too. High Joltage. This card sucks. I don't know any time you would ever want to play this card. What are you doing playing this card? Like, what deck wants to gain charges so badly that you would play Energize, but worse, in your deck? Like, no one plays Energize. Someone played Energize against me the other day. I felt really weird. I was like, why the fuck is this happening to me? Energize is a bad card. Thus, this is a bad card. Don't play this card. It's not even good in Limited or Constructed. Don't play this card. Alright, Howling Madness. Howling Madness is mill 3 draw card. So essentially you're playing a cycling card that like also buries 3 cards. This card is the most bury card that you want, because it continues to let you draw into more and more bury cards. Like you really want to burst them with bury, but you also want to burst them while continuing to like keep the same amount of cards in your hand. And Howling Madness helps you do that. That being said, I think mill is obnoxious and atrocious, and no one should ever play mill. In Constructed, you're probably never playing this card anyways. Mill's not a real thing. If it is a real thing, mill's gonna be miserable to play against. This card is decent. That's about it. Next up is Jingle Jing Switch. Curtis loved this card. I don't know why. So it has Socketable Major, 3 cost 3/2. So like that's already decent. We're already playing this card, right? Like we were okay with playing Quenchinator as a Gladiator 1/2/2 with Socketable Major, even without the one shot. So like Jingle Jing Switch, we're already playing this card. The thing is, we also get this like weird tacked on ability that is okay. I don't know if it's great. Like, you don't choose which troop that you're transforming. You have to transform to like get it. I don't know. This card is like it's good. I don't know if it's great. I don't know. I don't know how to evaluate this card. Another issue is that like it's still a troop, right? And like you don't choose which troop it transforms into. And they still keep their buffs and stuff, right? It like doesn't revert the troop. So like I don't know. I'm not a fan. And if you're in the transform mirror, like it's not even good in the transform mirror. Because you transform your opponent's troops, and that triggers their stupid on-transform abilities. So, like, I don't know. This card's so awkward. I really want to know why 32-Beat and Curtis, like, think this card is insane. Because you have very low control over it. And I think that's a huge issue. That's not what I like to see. Anyways. It's great in Limited. It's like a 3 cost 3/2 major socket. We're playing this in Limited all the time. In Constructed, I'm gonna say no. I'm sure 32-Beat or Curtis are eventually gonna end up showing me how insane this is, but we're going with no for now. Up next is Lixil Heartsworn. People were really excited about this card. I am tempered about this card. I think it's fine in Limited. It's really like a strong, like, bomby-ish card in Limited. But, like, there are other bomby-ish cards that we've talked about, and I think those cards might be more bomby than this in Limited. Like, Kazaris, I think, is a better card than this in Limited. Right? Like, there are some insane bombs that are, I think, just much better. Are there any in Diamond? I don't think so. I don't think anything was as bomby as it was in Limited. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what's the best. I'm gonna go with Shamrock. Shamrock is sweet. But I don't know. I don't know what you like want by best. Do you mean best in limited, best in constructed? Because Shamrock's like much worse in limited than it is in constructed. Anyways, Lixel, Hartshorn, gaining a charge every turn. That's kind of strong. You get like all this garbage. That's also kind of strong. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably fine. I don't know about constructed either. It's kind of expensive, and it like spews your things. Eyes of the Heart. It's like really strong with Eyes of the Heart. I'll give you that. But like, it's so awkward. All right, my opinion, best. I also like don't know what you mean by best. Like the best card or like the most fun card. Your opponent basically can't play a removal on it, but I can. See? You see the Sunlit sentence? Done. Or like Massacre. If I Massacre this card isn't good. Like it's a 1/2 with these abilities. All right. After I finish the review, I'll talk about my favorite cards. So yeah, like for sure, I understand that Lixel is like, why would you ever attack with your Lixel? Why are you playing Lixel outside of that? Are you just using her to gain charges every turn? That doesn't sound exciting. What charge power are you using? You play this in control, why would you attack? Are you playing this with like the 7 cost make an Oracle song? While you still have to hold up like 3 charges every turn? She blocks? Does she? Does she? Like, are you telling me that Haraza with Crusader isn't attacking into this? Are you telling me that Haraza with anything isn't attacking into this? Are you telling me that the Saugats deck isn't making 7/7s and attacking into this? Like, does she do those things? Are you telling me that the Deathcry decks aren't making giant fatty 6/6 flyers and attacking past this? Oh, sure. Yeah, she's slow. Alright, anyways. Next up is Lixel's Heartseeker. Play this always. In limited. This is a really good common for Sapphire. Like, there have been a lot of bad commons, which is why I don't like Sapphire. There's like 3 straight bad commons there. And that might have tainted my view. Like, this is also not good in most decks. This is also not good in most decks. Right? Like, if my commons are gonna end up being like a bunch of these cards, I don't want it. Yes, this is 1 charge. You would pay 1 charge to summon a Phantom. And if you get your charge for free because you're playing Frostshaper Gokrog, you would pay 3 cost to make a 2/2 and summon a Phantom. This card's great. You would play this all the time in Sapphire. I don't think I need to say anything more. In limited, obviously. In constructed, probably not. There's probably not enough value in playing this card in constructed. Next up is Metamorphize. Transform target troop you control into a random troop of the same shards and with cost +1. In the pre-review, I talked about this a bit. This card is probably absolutely awful and you probably never want to play it. But if you do want to play it, remember that multicolor cards are really hard to come by. There are not very many of them. So if you have a multicolor card and you give it cost +1, you can very often specifically choose which multicolor card you want to get. Like, for example, I think Emperor Nox is the only Blood Ruby card at 6. So if you have a Blood Ruby card at 5 and you just like +1 it, you guaranteed will get freaking Emperor Nox. To be fair, I think the only Blood Ruby card at 5 is Scorpionox, and that card is probably way better than Emperor Nox. So you kind of want to change your Nox Zealots into, like, Scorpionoxes. Obviously, you don't want to be Trishard in doing that, so you should probably find out which Sapphire cards that are multi-shard that you can like transform into guaranteed things. I think 4 cost to 5 you can guaranteed get QE, but I don't know what 4 costs there are in Ruby Sapphire, and I don't even know if there's a single one. But yeah, so Metamorphize is awful. There's also Lasgar Chull at 5. Is Lasgar Chull not rotating? Alright. Sure. But like you see what I mean. Like it limits the options to like the minimum. So like it's much better than, you know, getting like all sorts of random crap. Remember that they also nerfed Merry Butterflies, so you can't get like 6 cost Sapphire troops. You can only get 5 cost Sapphire troops. And I think 6 cost Sapphire troops are way better, but I mean you could YOLO into like Whisker of Azathoth, which is kind of strong, but not really. Or like this trashy 3/3, which is not what you want. So yeah, like don't play this card. Next up is Psionic Barrage. We talked about the other Barrage. This is the Psionic one. Psionic Barrage is a mill card, and that's it. Like, if your actions mill, like an action-based mill deck, you'll probably play this. Did they ever say what the 9 lives means? Someone told me that it means it comes back to the battlefield. Like it just comes back to the battlefield, right? Like, when it dies, put it back onto the battlefield. It has 9 shot, put it back onto the battlefield. So yeah. Psionic Barrage is sucky, unless you're mill. And in which case, it's like a bursty mill card. Like, I would rather just play more Howling Madnesses. Like, you might play a Psionic Barrage just so you can, like, have, like, a bit more mill. But it's definitely not Howling Madness, which I think is what you want more in mill decks. Up next is Runeflexion. Put target action in your crypt into your hand. It gets Runic. I think this card is too slow. Like sure, you can do a lot of, like, really powerful things with this. Like, it's a really strong Runeseeker type effect, but God, this card is so slow. Like you can't even do it with Eyes of the Heart, because it voids itself. So yeah, I would not recommend picking Runeflexion. It's really too slow. And it doesn't, like, affect the board at all. Runic Raise, this card sucks. Look how bad this card is. This is why I don't want to play Sapphire in this set. We have, like, awful things. This is a combat trick that just, like, shrinks something for a ton. And then Runic shrinks something for a ton. Except that Runic shrinking something for a ton means that it happens on your turn, when it doesn't matter the most. So yeah. No to Runic Raise. Also not in Constructed. Runeflexion, maybe some weird janky thing in Constructed. Psionic Barrage, maybe if Mill gets there in Constructed. Metamorphize, probably not in Constructed. Alright, up next is Runic Riddles. Runic Riddles is sweet. It is comparable to Epiphany, the 4-cost quick spell that draws 2 cards. Runic Riddles does a kind of similar thing. You basically play Arcane Focus twice at quick speed. Or Arcane Focus at quick speed, it makes a rune, and then if you draw a resource, you get to Arcane Focus again. I think this has an outside shot of seeing constructed play, because, like, the card selection is huge at quick speed. And then in limited, if you're a slow deck and we can afford to be doing this, this is huge as well. If we can't afford to be doing this, we shouldn't be doing this. I don't think we can afford to be doing this, to be fair. But yeah, it's also a great way to disguise your, like, quick speed things. See, 32-beat even gave me a maybe. That's how maybe alright this is for Constructed. Anyways, Runic Riddles is kind of fun. I don't know. It might not be better than the other Runic card. The Runic, the Ruby Sapphire one that, like, draws a card and it deals damage equal to its cost when you play it. Like, that card might just be infinitely better than this. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay, but it's just really slow. You can never say no to quick draw. Yeah. Sour Grumpus. The sourest of Grumpuses. Cards you control can't be reverted by cards or effects. Hey, you know what's really good when against me when I'm going to be main decking all of my arcing lights? Sour Grumpus is. Because I don't get to revert your cards. So yeah, this, like, if you guys remember Kakunomancer, this is basically a much cheaper, much more vulnerable to removal Kakunomancer. Kakunomancer was an insane bomb. When you untapped with Kakunomancer, you would win the game. This, the turn that you, like, would play Kakunomancer, you could actually just play this and transform something immediately. So, like it's fine. It's a really strong card. This is a rare. It is a transform key card. You know what's great against Grumpus? Dingle Dance. Dingle Dance is great against Grumpus. Because it transforms the opposing troop into a Dingler. Permanently. You know what's not great? The fact that Grumpus can transform it back into a Merry Butterfly. And plus, Dingle Dance isn't good on Grumpus, right? Like, it just means that all your Merry Butterflies, like, revert. And that's fine. Like, we already played Kakunomancer, and we understood that their cards would revert. So, like, that's fine by me. Grumpus is insane. If you play this on 6, I think it's very hard for you to lose. Mainly because you can transform itself into a Merry Butterfly, and then, like, continue just winning the game holding up resources like that. So, yeah. Grumpus is a really strong card, I think. In Limited. In Constructed, I doubt it. In Limited, Grumpus is filthy. Filthy strong. Spellstorm's Titan. No? No? Like it's a 4-cost 3/3 flight. That's fine. But Spellsworn Titan is... It's good, but, like, I don't know. It's so hard to, like, play out a bunch of actions unless you're specifically making swamp gases. If you get 2 of these for 4, it's probably good enough. And I think, based on that, you should take this all the time. Because it's not that hard playing an action and then playing Spellstorm Titan. Like, you play a 2-cost action or something, and then you go Spellstorm Titan. Or you play, like, a runic card at the start of your turn that's an action, and then you play Spellstorm Titan. But yeah, outside of that, I don't think you're gonna want to play Spellstorm Titan that highly. Or no, I guess you, like, first pick this all the time in your packs, unless you're not Sapphire, of course. And then in Constructed, 32beat is talking about some harass a combo action deck. I doubt it gets there. It'll probably be terrible, just like he says. So yeah, no. Probably not. Striding Syzagon. Hey, you know what's really fun? That Conscript card that made the 3-cost card that costs 1 less. This is like that. This is, in fact, exactly like that card. This card is miserable. Oh my god. This card is probably a first pick too. Like, there are really, really a lot of good Sapphire rares, but, like, the commons and uncommons are just, like, not great. Or the commons are just not great. Maybe the uncommons will carry. But yeah, like, Syzagon's insane. This card is great. It's disgusting. This is a disgusting card. This is like a 3-cost 2/4 that conscripts a card. That's just how good this card is. In Constructed, I don't think we're playing 3-cost 2/4s that conscript a card. In Limited, we're playing 3-cost 2/4s that conscript a card all the time. So Portal always transforms again. It transforms at the start of your turn and when it enters your hand. Swooping Gravitross, I've talked about this card. I do not like it. It is very expensive. And only if it's in your hand. So it won't transform while it's on the battlefield. Swooping Gravitross. Meh. It's too expensive for like a 3/3 flyer. Like if we're okay with playing 3/3 flyers in this format, then we're gonna play all of these. 3/3 flyers for 5. But if we're not okay with that, we're never gonna play this card. It really depends on how aggressive the format is. If the format is as aggressive as I think it is, we're never playing this card. If the format is less aggressive than this is, we still might not play this card. This is really expensive for this. We would rather pay 4 for a 3/2 flyer that also has upside, right? Like this Lux card that we've already talked about. We would rather play that. Yeah. Temporal Exile. It's an Evaporate that doesn't lose your card advantage. It does not tempo you as hard. I think this is a very reasonable card. I think it is awkward that you don't get like the huge tempo swing of being able to evaporate a like very expensive removal spell or something, or evaporate your opponent's like really expensive troop and set them back a ton, but you still get some of that, and you also get an uncommon portal for your efforts. I think this is a really good card in Sapphire. I think you picked this pretty highly. Like a pretty high pick uncommon. Alright, next up is Unhenge. Interrupt target troop while you control an elemental. This has cost -2 in all zones. Strong? Like, 3 cost interrupt target troop is terrible. But 1 cost interrupt target troop is real strong. Like, people play Dingle. Dingle is a good card. This is a better Dingle if you're playing elementals. This is a worse Dingle if you're not. So yeah, if you end up in like Sapphire Diamond Frost form or something, or some other deck that will like end up with enough elementals, right? I think Unhenge is a really, really good card. Like if you have a bunch of Aquamanders, that's fine. You would love Unhenge in Constructed if you could play 8 Arcanovexes. Arcanovex, you can Frostform it, and it makes Unhenge sweet. So yeah, that would be pretty strong. Obviously, like, Arcanovex can't actually make Unhenge, but, you know, you don't need it to do that. Not at 1 cost, at least. But yeah, Unhenge is pretty strong. Counter Magic is in an awkward spot in Limited. You have to be, like, reasonably on board to be able to hold up Counter Magic. And the problem is, like, for specific Counter Magic like this, what if your opponent just plays removal and, like, gets to swing past your board now? Like, you really don't want to be doing that. It's pretty decent in Light the Votive's Diamond Sapphire control. Probably fine, yeah. Yeah, Unhenge might see constructed play. Maybe it has a shot. It's like better than playing Dingle, especially if you're already gonna make elementals. In Limited, I think you really have to like have it cost 1, or you have to like really be like losing to 1 specific troop, or like really, really more impactful troops than yours who want to be playing that. Whimsy's Familiar. It's a 1 cost flight 1/1. When another troop you control transforms, you transform into a random troop with cost 3, and it gets flight. Wow, random is so fun. It could transform into anything from, I don't know, like a Crusader with flight and another gem to, I don't know, like a garbage 3 cost troop. These cards aren't fun. Holy fuck. Also, there's like less transforming going around. So like, Whimsy's Familiar is going to take a lot longer to get online. You're not going to have as many copies of Runic Chrysalis. Like, you don't really want to play Metamorphize to make this card work out. So like, yeah, I don't think you want to be picking Whimsy's Familiar that high. Like, don't get me wrong. This is a really strong effect. But do understand that, like you really don't want to be metamorphizing or anything. And there's, like, not really good ways to transform in this set. And your champ power now costs 5 for the transform one. So, like, all of these things make it so it's really unlikely that I want to be playing this card. Unless all the transform is in wild and we just, like, completely missed it. Like, I don't want this to turn into a 3-drop on turn, like, 5. I want this to turn into a 3-drop on turn 3. Maybe 4. Right? Alright, Whisker of Azathoth. This card is sweet. It dies to a lot of things, which is really unfortunate. Like, if your opponent plays, what is it called? Return to Cinder, it dies immediately. And if your opponent plays any of the -X spells in Blood, like, if they play Siphon Strength, or if they play Unravel, your troop dies immediately. Like, all of its lives die immediately. But, you can trigger 1,000,000 death cries against blood-based removal. Right? Like, if you give this death cry abilities, you can get so many death cries. And that is a cheesy combo. That's all what we're about. We know it. We love playing bad combos. That being said, it is a bad combo. So, yeah. It also has this, like, weird text that says when opposing resource is buried, summon a Chaos Tongue. So it's also supposed to be for, like, a mill deck, but I don't even, like, know how this synergizes together. Anyways. It's fine. We play it. Oh, I guess in a mill deck with, like, what is it called? Scuttlecrux. If we Scuttlecrux, and then we can't unravel our own troops. Damn. So if we Scuttlecrux, and then we, like, slowly start sacking it, I don't think there's a way to shrink our own troop. -1/-1. Unless our opponent, verdicts. Yeah. I don't think we can get a sweet berry combo going off. 32 beat says don't play it. I think you should. Like often and enough, it'll be a 5-cost 3/1 that just, like, does, like, 3 combats while dying and still, like, trading correctly. And I think that's fine. Like, obviously, if one-shot removal is gonna kill it all the time, you shouldn't be playing this card. I think it's fine. In limited. In constructed, nope. Nope. Don't even try. Oh, also Whimsy's Familiar, also not in constructed. Sits on board and does nothing? It trades for X3s. Like, there's a decent number of X3s. I think it's fine. Zeoda's Familiar. This is the slow grind card that we want. When we're going into the late game, we want to be able to Zeoda's Familiar and slow grind the game. We're just going to sit there, we're going to pay 5, we're going to draw a card. The Fate Weave means that we're never going to draw a resource again off of the ability. This card sucks. Like, or not sucks, but it's slow. This card's, like, so slow. And I don't like cards that are this slow. But this card does give you something to do with your resources late game. So, I accept. This card's fine. Probably play it in limited. In constructed, you're probably never playing this. And then we have Zephin. As I talked before, transforming into specific costs with the same shards means that you need to keep track of resource costs and stuff. So, for example, if we're playing full cost Zephin, and it's a lot better if we're playing multi-shard cards, obviously, because we get to, like, specifically choose. But if we're playing, like, full cost Zephin and we marry Butterfly something first, that's actually, like, kind of a combo because we can make it into a Sapphire troop permanently. There's a few other things that we can do. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Keep track of the costs and see what you can hit. I think that's the key thing. that you have to worry about with Zephyr. Zephyr's a really good card. It's a 6-cost 4/5 flight. That's huge. And then if you like target a Sapphire troop and make it a 6-cost troop, you're pretty likely to hit something at least decent, hopefully. Like, worst case scenario, you're going to hit a Briny Walrus or something, but you might hit like Draxard or another copy of itself, which is very fine. In Constructed, nope. I don't think you're getting there on this like weird janky thing. Alright,